Hello everyone, welcome to Headlines of the Day. From today, we are starting off with a new edition, and that is Headlines of the Day of the Indian Express. Our aim is to give you some of the major articles from the Indian Express with the hope that it will help you cut short your newspaper reading time. Let's begin our today's edition of the Indian Express, dated 20th April 2022. From page number 6, GS3 Economy section, you'll find an article that is headlined as Among Cities Urban Poor, Unemployment Biggest Crisis, 76% were out of jobs during pandemic. From this article, you have to consider what are the findings of Lok Niti CSDS study on urban slums and issues highlighted like unemployment and impact of pandemic and what is the possible scenario ahead. Moving further on page number 9 from GS3 Economy section, there's an article about panel suggesting fertilizer subsidy rate based on March prices. From this article, you have to consider the recommendations of Interministerial Committee to revise nutrient-based subsidy rates for upcoming Kharif season, the rationale behind move and expected implications for the economy. Moving further on page number 11 from GS2 Judiciary section, that is headlined as HC Judge recuses third this year. From this article, you have to consider why does a judge recuse? What is the process of recusal? Can a judge refuse to recuse? And do judges record reasons for recusal? Alright, moving further on page number 11 itself from GS2 International Relations, there's an article that is headlined as Raja Mohan to explain challenges India faces following the Ukraine war. From this article, you have to know about the Russian invasion of Ukraine, steps of the Western Europe to re-evaluate their relationship with Russia, where does the situation leave India, what are the contours of diplomatic challenge India faces in the coming years, and what choices can it be forced to make. Moving further, page number 13, there is an article from GS2 Parliament. This article is headlined as Living in Shrunken House, and this is written by Varun Gandhi. From this article, you have to consider what are the major bills passed in the monsoon session of Indian Parliament in 2021. You have to know about Parliament's productivity, significance of deliberation on legislation, what are the features of parliamentary democracy and issues linked to it, and what is the possible scenario ahead. Moving further on page number 13 itself from GS3 Economy section, there's an article that is headlined as Making Fiscal Room. Healthy tax revenues and disinvestment proceeds will allow government to absorb the risk related to increased spending this year. From this article, you have to consider how has the Russia-Ukraine conflict heightened the geopolitical uncertainty, the consequence of this conflict on projections of India's growth, relevance of healthy tax revenues and disinvestment proceeds in this context, and what is the possible scenario ahead. Moving further on page number 13 from GS2 Polity and Governance, there's an article that is headlined as A New Northeast Movement. From this article, what is the significance of Assam and Meghalaya agreement to resolve the 5-decade-old border dispute, the government's decision to reduce disturbed areas under the AFSPA in Assam, Nagaland, Manipur after decades, why these developments are significant for restoring normalcy and enabling perception changes about northeastern regions, other existing issues, and what is the possible scenario ahead. Moving further on page number 16 from GS3 Economy section, there's an article, What the Increase in MCLR Means for You, Your Loan. So from this article, you have to consider what is the marginal cost of funds-based lending rates, MCLR, and why the State Bank of India raised it, and further on, what are its implications. Moving further on page number 16 itself from GS3 Defense section, there's an article, Significance of Corps of Engineers Officer as Chief of Indian Army. In this article, we are talking about the new Chief of Indian Army for the first time from Corps of Engineers. From this article, you have to consider what is the significance of the step and the long-term implications for Army. Moving further on page number 17 from GS3 Economy section, there are two articles. Loan to Senior Executives, Large NBFC Exposures, RBI, Ring Fences Norms. So what are the recent guidelines of the Reserve Bank of India for non-banking financial companies, that is NBFCs, and objectives behind the move? Further on, there's another article, IMF cuts India growth to fairly robust 8.2%. So this is a finding of World Economic Outlook report. From this article, you have to understand what are the findings of World Economic Outlook report. Moving further on page number 17 from GS2 International Relations, there's an article, Green Transition Net Zero Goal. India, Finland explore tie-up. From this article, you have to know about the Scandinavian nations' offerings in the green energy sector and explore potential partnerships for India's green transition. Further on, decarbonization efforts, including sharing of resources like technology and finances. Well, that's a wrap of today's edition of the Indian Express. I hope you liked the video. We'll see you with more such videos in the coming future. Till then, do stay tuned and take care.